right, hello everyone. I will officially welcome you in about 90 seconds, guys. If you could just hang tight, just want to let everybody get in. It's great to spend a little time with you this evening. We are officially live on YouTube. That's great. Oh, thank you, Raylan, for popping the link in the chat. All right, so it is 6:02. And let me make sure no one's in the waiting room. Oh, we do have a person in the waiting room. Okay. Raylan, would you be willing to keep an eye on the waiting room too, just in the early parts of the meeting before we start the forum, just to let people in if they come? All right, let's go ahead and get started. Good evening, Sandy Springs. Welcome to episode 3 of North End Live. I am Councilwoman Melody Kelly, and this is really a monthly community or virtual community forum that provides information and allows us space to talk about the issues that are most meaningful in our communities. So I want to just thank you all for being here. And let's talk a little bit about the agenda for today. The first half of what I call episodes, this episode, the first half of it is going to be devoted to a candidate forum for our Fulton County School Board seat, District 7, which is actually going to be determined in the May 19th primary election. So, guys, quick note, early voting is happening now through May 15th. And again, election day is May 19th, and we're going to hear from the two candidates, our incumbent, Dr. Michelle Moranci, who currently holds the District 7 seat, as well as Dr. John Seeley, who is challenging her. We're going to hear from both of those candidates, and I don't know of a more important topic than our public schools. And there's a variety of reasons why. We're experiencing, just to set the context, we're experiencing declining enrollment across the district, really across multiple districts. If you look over in DeKalb County at the decisions they're forced to make. Last year, we experienced the closure of Spalding Drive Elementary School right here in the North End, right here in District 2. And we're also, at the same time, we are experiencing growth in the North End in the form of redevelopment and revitalization efforts. So tonight is about reconciling all of those issues and seeing where our candidates stand on issues that are specific to Sandy Springs and more specifically, North Sandy Springs. With that, I'd like to introduce my co-moderator and friend, Raymond J. Grody III. Many of you probably know Raymond, and he'll introduce himself, but many of you probably know him as one of the premier leaders that kind of showed up and stepped up during the closure exercise for Spalding Drive Elementary. So I want to thank him and all of the parents who you taught this community a lot in that exercise, even though it didn't go the way we wanted. With that, I'm going to actually pass the microphone or the floor rather, to Raymond to introduce himself.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kelly. I appreciate everybody joining us, and Dr. Moranci, Dr. Seeley, Board President McCabe. Thank you all for being a part of this, and to many of my friends and future friends. Appreciate you all joining this important conversation. As Melody alluded to, I became heavily involved in this topic of schools. Most recently, as we were talking about the closure of Spalding Drive Elementary, which has subsequently been closed, as we all know. Um, since then, I've been leading the efforts to develop a public charter school here in the Sandy Springs area that we are calling SAIL, which is Spalding Academy for Innovation and Learning. I'm looking forward to this discussion. I'm very much excited um, to hear the candidates' views on different subjects, and really can't think of a more important local issue than how we're raising the next generation of leaders in this community. So appreciate everybody's time and attention again, and look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. I want to go over the rules and format a bit. Yes, I've spent the week watching all these Atlanta Press Club forums. So yeah, I'm trying to be like super I'm trying to imitate that a little bit. So here's what we'll do. And this has already been shared with the candidates, but I want to make sure everyone's aware. We will start with introductions from each candidate. It'll be 2 minutes each. We'll alternate who starts each round of questioning. But after introductions, we'll go through questions. Each candidate will be allowed 60 seconds. Raylan Minty will be keeping time and changing her background. I want to just ask the speakers to ensure that you keep Raylan Minty in your frame, because she will be keeping your time. When your time is up, if I will mute you and, like I told you earlier, very passive aggressively interrupt you and move to the next person. So with that, we've spent some time, Raymond and I appreciate Raymond for doing this with me, but we've spent some time coming up with questions. We also have some really great questions that were submitted beforehand from the public. And so we've been working on just how can we interweave those and come up with a few themes that are thoughtful and meaningful specifically to our community that we can ask the candidates about. And so we'll go through those questions and then allow 1 minute for closing. What we will not be doing tonight is live Q&A. We did receive questions from the public. There was a Google form link shared, and we are going to be incorporating those questions based on context. And what we will do, though, is share the contact information for each of these candidates. And I think Raylan's going to pop their websites into the link, and you can definitely engage them offline with more if you want to do more of a deep dive. I'm sure they have plenty of opportunity to meet with you all. With that said, I'm ready to get started. Are y'all ready? Dr. Seeley, Dr. Moranci, y'all ready? You pumped
Yeah.
up? All right, we're going to jump into introductions. And with that, I'm actually going to let Dr. Moranci start. And Dr. Moranci, would you be willing to introduce yourself?
Sure. I am one of the Fulton County School Board members. I'm a member for District 7, Sandy Springs. I am a licensed psychologist and school psychologist. I've worked in schools my whole career and came to Georgia 13 years ago, I think, and started working in schools again. And um, I'm enjoying this position because I get to make an impact on how our students are educated in Sandy Springs and Roswell and Johns Creek, part of Johns Creek.
All right, thank you, Dr. Moranci. Dr. Seeley.
Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Seeley, your candidate for Fulton County School Board District 7, a businessman, father of a child in the public school, a homeowner, One of the reasons why I am running for the school board is to advocate for more transparency with Fulton County Schools, which has a $1.4 billion annual operating budget. I have a doctorate in business administration, and based on my evaluation, we can do a better job spending taxpayer money to serve the students and the community. Here are my priorities to help our schools, our children, teachers, and the communities we live in. The money should be used for the classroom education and to meet the growing need of the special education. Empower teachers with the resources and respect they deserve. Strengthen the science, technology, engineering, the arts, and the mathematics outcomes from the elementary through high school. Our schools should have a structure where classrooms are safe, students succeed, and I support strong, consistent codes of conduct across schools. Address bullying and disruptions with clear and fair policies. Parents are partners and not afterthoughts. The school board answers to the families it serves. I demand open, accessible board meetings and a clear public reporting, curriculum and policy clarity. I am your board member who listens first and will explain the board decisions, reducing all wasteful and ineffective spending and help the community by lowering the property taxes. And I also support 100% senior home tax exemption. With over 20 years of leadership experience and a deep commitment to the community, I promise accountability, transparency, and the results to the Fulton County schools. You can find me on my website, www.drjohnseeley.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Seeley and Dr. Moranci for the introductions. We'll go ahead and get into the questions now. We'll provide a little bit of context before each question, and then we'll ask the question, and Melody and I will follow up with any follow-up questions, should it make sense to do so. Reminder, 1 minute each here. Since Dr. Moranci started the introductions, we'll start with Dr. Seeley on this first question. Given my nearly singular focus, you may expect the context here in the first question. Following the closure of Spalding Drive Elementary, parents have organized to form an independent charter school and previously have sought to purchase the former location of Spalding Drive Elementary. So, Dr. Seeley, I'd ask you, how should the district approach school closures broadly, right? And what is your position on allowing community-based charter schools to purchase or lease closed school facilities?
So, school closures may be driven by economics and policy, but coming to the Spalding Drive, the community deserves more transparency and they didn't get it. Many felt the decision was already made, and some parents have to file the open records request just to get the answers, and that erodes trust on the school board. If the building was too deteriorated for the students, I don't understand why it is considered for a teaching museum. We need clear, consistent answers from the board. Families are clear. They don't want overcrowded 800 plus capacity large school buildings. Spalding was a high performing small school, strong in the special education. All right. So the lesson is simple. We must listen. When elected, I will focus on the transparency and partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Seeley. Dr. Moranci, I'm happy to repeat the question, but feel free to answer unless you'd like me to repeat.
You can repeat it.
All right, perfect. So how should the district approach school closures broadly? And what is your position on allowing community-based charter schools to purchase or lease closed school facilities?
Well, everyone knows that I voted against closing Spalding Drive. I didn't feel like the policy was where it should be. And since we have closed that school, the board has rewritten the policy to make it clearer, more transparent. It'll take 2 years now to close a school. And whereas when we were doing Spalding Drive, I think it was very rushed. The parents were concerned about how fast everything was happening, as was I. And we worked very hard on the board to change that policy. and now it will take 2 years. And regarding the say the charter school one again.
Should they be allowed to purchase or lease closed facilities?
Well, the policy we have now on closed okay, she turned around.
We'll pause there. I appreciate the answers. Melody, did you have any follow-up there?
No, I'm going to cover my follow-up when I get my time. Thank you.
Great. Yep, no problem. I'm sure many of you have more questions around that, and I would encourage the candidates to reach out on various their socials and different things to more fully answer the question if you feel like there's more there. The second question that I have, just to keep us moving here, is on attracting and retaining students, which I argue is really the biggest problem facing the Fulton County system, particularly the attracting and retaining is what translates into attendance and schools, not being full. Many families in Sandy Springs are choosing private education and/or charter schools, even when they live near public schools. What is your plan, Dr. Moranci, to start with, to strengthen academic programs and school offerings in a way that attracts and retains local students?
I think that Sandy Springs has a history of sending their kids to private schools. And the district is working on a wide marketing plan and to get students to come back. Because we have a lot of wonderful programs in Sandy Springs schools and Fulton County schools. We have a wide range of programs. But it always seems that no one knows about it. So right now we're working on developing a marketing plan. We have school choice, the COSA, we have IB, and I think we're doing a really good job at trying to attract students and bring them back. And I noticed that in high school, we're getting a lot of kids coming back in the high school years. We have a new high school IB program, which is very popular.
That makes a lot of sense. It also makes sense given the sports programs that high schools offer that typically private schools can't offer competitively as well. So we'll move on to Dr. Seeley, and I'm happy to go through it again. What's your plan to strengthen academic programs and school offerings in a way that we attract and retain local students?
So let's consider the education as a product. And parents are feeling the Fulton County Education Public Schools is not meeting their expectation as a product, given the enormous spend of $1.4 billion. Let's look at the past decade. FCS has invested millions into the new curriculum like Lucy Calkins, Everyday Math, iReady. But comparing to the pre-pandemic, data shows declining numbers in reading and math by even 20% or more. I would not be surprised why parents are choosing private schools over public schools. Is private schools better? I don't think so. But consider the states like Mississippi and Louisiana. They have returned back to the basics, phonics, strong math foundation, proven methods, and spending less per student. We need to ask why they are working, it's working for them, and what we can do to make it work to empower our teachers, reducing the screen time, getting.
Thank you so much.
Can
Melody,
I respond to that? Or we're not doing that?
Look at you. Well, I mean, okay, so.
No, go ahead. I don't want to mess up the.
Well, okay, so I do have a follow-up for both candidates, actually. Okay. So, and Dr. Seeley, and both of you, it should allow you to speak more about where you were. But I want to say this is actually a question related that we received, but I think it kind of dovetails into this. What could we do to expand advanced learning opportunities without only benefiting the students who already have the most support and access. So anything
Well,
Repeat
there?
that.
why don't we? Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead,
So
Dr. Morency.
you said repeat it.
Yeah.
Okay. What can we do to expand learning opportunities, advanced learning opportunities, to students who don't necessarily have the most family support or access already? So it's just something to, yeah. I just stopped since we were talking about academics. Didn't want to.
We have school choice in the district where families can look at what different schools, what special programs different schools are offering, and those are open to everyone in the district. And I think this was the first year, and I think that we did a good job of advertising it and having applications for different schools for all families. Because when I think about the programs, I'm thinking about everybody, all of our students. All of them are my students. So I want them to succeed. And if that means doing the COSA where they have things that they're interested in, I think that's wonderful.
Thank you. Dr. Seeley, did you want to answer that one? You are muted. Yeah.
Dr. Seeley, unmute yourself. Thank you.
I don't know, I got muted. Okay. So not all children in the schools are interested in a 4-year college. Some people wanted to go and get their skills improved so they can be the entrepreneurs. Some people may not be, English is not their first language. Maybe they are looking for a foreign languages. We have a Globe Academy in Decatur, I guess. So we need to have programs like that, which can spend half the time in the foreign language like French or Latin or Spanish, and the other half in English. That way they can be more, it can be more accessible for them. Also, if you look at the North Springs High School, we have this workforce ready programs. Something like that can help. For some children, it can be the cosmetology. Some children, it could be welding, carpentry. We need to promote programs like that. That way we can understand what the children are more interested in so they can develop. If we have more interest, that is where the education prevails better. So that is my thought when it comes to promoting the programs and giving more access to the teachers and the student parents.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And
We
so
need
now,
to respond to that as well. Go ahead.
okay. So now that we're gonna shift to my set of questions. And I think you both probably know, or anyone who knows me knows that I'm all about, the north end of Sandy Springs. And so I want to talk about protecting the north end schools amid or reconciling the fact that we are in a state of we are in the process of growing. There's quite a bit happening here. And if you'd like to learn more, shameless plug, you can catch me every month on this show, North End Live, and we can talk about it. Anyway, so the North End is seeing redevelopment and population growth. We're building more housing product, simply put, and ideally the type of housing product that attracts families. And this is happening even as the overall enrollment is declining. So my question is, how will you ensure that our community is not disproportionately impacted by future school closures while our city is growing? And I would also add to that, not just school closures, but also just problematic like processes and decision making. For example, we currently have a challenge with the like feeder school patterns. Like right now, there's some splitting in the feeder school patterns, and so it's not even just the closures, but just other things that may not uh, positively impact our community while we're in this state of growth? And I will start with Dr. Seeley on this one.
Wow, mouthful. Great question, Dr. Melody. So, North End growth must be planned very intentionally with Fulton County schools, city leaders, and state regulators working together. If we want stronger enrollment, we need to have housing and the jobs that support their families. Right now, too much development is studios and one bedrooms is what my data shows. Families need three-bedroom options. We have seen the impact when the province north was redeveloped. Spalding lost 60 students and only 12 students, a fraction of them returned. Housing policy directly affects school enrollment. We have to be careful. If we want vibrant schools, we need to advocate for family friendly housing through private partnerships and smart incentives. It's not just about growth, it's about planning for the families. You're talking about the split feed. Actually, we don't need to do the split feed. If 7% and 6% is crossing, we can put the 100% there. But I think it's the policy.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Seeley. Raymond, I'll ask if you have any follow-up on that one.
Not at the moment. I would pose to the candidates, and I want Dr. Moranci to have time to answer as well. But I would pose to the candidates that the city and the school system have a working relationship. I'm not sure how strong that working relationship is or isn't, but I would just encourage the candidates to maybe speak to what you know about that relationship or how that could be strengthened.
That's
But Dr.
actually the next
Moranci, I want to
question.
go back to the original. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Diva, you want me to respond to that now?
Go ahead, Melanie.
That question. Our operations department works very closely with Sandy Springs in forecasting and researching what the trends are in housing, which is what brings kids to our schools. And so at this time, we're working on our capital plan and trying to anticipate what those numbers are going to look like. And you do not have to worry about another school closing in Sandy Springs. That's not on the table. But we want to look at what the numbers are like. And yes, the housing that's being built, you said, Councilwoman, that it is for families, but
It's a mix.
yeah, we need to, for families, it has to be affordable housing as well. That's an issue that we have in the North.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Seeley, would you like to opine about coordination?
Absolutely. So the coordination between the school board, the Sandy Springs City, and the state leaders is limited at this point of time, and that must change. We need regular coordination to align on the enrollment and growth that is best for the families, including the low-income families, so they can be comfortable in the communities with good jobs. Probably multi-school unified PTA, PTO roundtable with all the school boards, all the PTAs coming together to exchange on the enrollment trends that will help. We must also think beyond the classroom. Housing stability means what it means, how it matters to us. Currently, the absentee rates or the migration rates, if we are looking at it, 1 of 5 students are changing schools every year. It impacts the achievement of the school. So better coordination leads to better results, and that is what we have to deliver as a school board members.
Thank you, Dr. Seeley. All right. This next topic is one of my favorite topics, taxation and finance. All right. So I have lost a lot of sleep over the past few months because At the state level, in the Georgia General Assembly, there are many proposals, and I think this is just the beginning. There are quite a few proposals to eliminate or significantly reduce property taxes, which are a primary source of funding for, well, for city operations, but also for public schools. And then in addition to that, I'm sure you all have also had some impacts in some of the cuts that have occurred at the federal level. So what I'd like for you to do is talk about your position on these efforts to eliminate or reduce property taxes, as well as at the federal level, some of the education related grant money or funding, and how you would work to ensure stable, adequate funding for Fulton County schools if these changes are implemented next session or the session after that. For this, we are going to start with, I believe we're going to start, who did we start with last time? I'm not keeping up.
Dr. Moranci this time.
Okay. So we're starting with Dr. Moranci now?
Yeah.
All right. We're starting with Dr. Moranci. Thank you.
I think in the legislative session this year, we did not cut the property taxes. We have a cap of 3% on increasing the property taxes since 2017. And what we have talked a lot about is that the Fed needs to pay their share in special education funding. And we have not increased the millage for the last 2 years because our finances are handled so well. We have a AAA rating and in our budget from an outside source. And so we haven't had to raise the millage. We are working hard because we know that it's difficult for families when you have a high property taxes. And I hear about it all the time on the news, and I'm going to get cut off.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Seeley.
Well, we all know that 50 to 60% of the school funding comes from the property taxes, and it is right that you are losing sleep. It's a matter that you should. However, I believe you're talking about the House Bill 1116, the Home Act, which is in for from the General Assembly for the elimination of the property taxes by 2032. Well, it's not new that the senior tax exemption was there in Cobb County since over 50 years, since 1973, it is there, right? So it's a controversial bill. It impacts the schools, it impacts the public police and the fire services, local governments. It's not a easy thing to palate, but at the same time, there can be options. If that happens, we have to rely back on the legislators and ask for the higher sales tax, higher income tax, or the state funding the QBE overhaul, where the state takes full control of the school and reduces the local control and flexibility. That may happen if that happens.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so with that, those are, Raymond, did you have any follow-up on that particular question?
No, I think it's widely agreed that Fulton County school system finances are in very good shape. Obviously, the investment grade rating and everything reflects that. What we hear about most often, though, is this $95 million shortfall. I know that there are a number of things in process to help address what's anticipated to be that shortfall. I would just ask each of the candidates, what particular programs in Glide would you like to point out that are going to help address that shortfall? And are there other things that you might bring up that would help address that shortfall? We can start with Dr. Seeley and then go to Dr. Moranci.
Well, if we look at the glide, it is saying for this year, the budget is already set and we are $90 million short, but it is reducing going year over year down the road. However, there are a few things that I may agree with the glide, and there could be a few things that I may have to take a second look at. I'm not sure if the glide is completely approved to move forward, but that's in 2025, so maybe it is, but there is always a chance that we can validate so the teachers won't be impacted, the classroom sizes will be small, and also to make sure some of the programs are not affected that interest the parents and the students. What I would be considering as a good options are the use of the vehicles and after hours, and also the renting of the facilities. Those are some of the things that we can consider to save up on the money.
Thank you. Dr. Moranci?
Well, if you had reviewed the glide, you would see that first, we haven't passed the budget yet. We'll be voting on the budget in June, so it is not set. And we are trying to be proactive by doing glide. And we want to cut things that will not affect instruction. So I hear a lot in the community that there is concern about administration and the amount that's spent in administration. We're cutting 40 positions in administration so that we don't have to cut in the schools. We're doing, we talked about um, taking using the last day as a furlough day. We didn't have to do that this year. And what I wanted to say also is that the, just that the 90 million is over several years. It's not
Yeah.
this year alone.
Yeah.
It's over
Yeah. As I understand it, and we'll move on, but that's a 5-year sort of projection, I believe. But that said, I can't help but shamelessly plug. We've got $10 million for you if you want it. I'll turn it back over to Dr. Kelly, and we'll go from there.
All right, so now we're at the point where we will have each candidate give a 1-minute closing. And so with that, we will start with Dr. Seeley for closing.
Wonderful. Well, you can hear me, right? Okay. So, yeah. Again, I come with a common sense policy to the table and making sure the money is used for the classroom education and back to the basics. So parents and the children can be comfortable in what they are learning and not just based on programs like iReady that may be appealing, but at the same time, it may not be producing results. I strongly urge that we should look at the curriculum and make sure everything that we are putting on our children is vetted and proven for the results. Let's look at the Mississippi and Louisiana kind of a states, which were at the very bottom, and they came to the top 10, and we still stay in the middle or towards the bottom spectrum. We have to be careful. So learn about me on my website, drjohnseeley.com. Go to the homepage. You can have the questions about what my education, why I am running in the race, and why you should elect me, and also what my agenda is on the core priorities. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Moranci.
I just wanted to correct a couple of things in my closing. First, we have many special programs in Fulton County for students who may not want to go to college. We have CTAE, where they can study what Dr. Seeley talked about, cosmetology, things like that. And we do not use Lucy Calkins' reading program. We do science of reading. Dr. Looney came in and instituted science of reading, and we have been recognized nationally for starting using that program. We've been recognized for several of our programs that have started since I came on the board. And we're working on the budget. We try to work proactively, and so that we don't have to cut staff as we move forward with the kids. So I think that since I've been on the board, we've done a wonderful job. We are one of the premier districts in Georgia.
All right. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you all.
Moranci. And so, as I stated, we had a few questions. We have quite a few questions from the public. Many had come in today, and so we didn't get an opportunity to fit those in. What I will do is send those to the candidates, and for individuals who did share their email, you'll be able to email them back your response. And as Raymond mentioned, it would likely be a good idea to just share, maybe consider sharing your responses on your through your social media, just so we know where you stand on those topics that are important to our community. With that, I do want to thank you both for your time. That it finishes our candidate forum, but there's still North End Live if anyone is interested in sticking around. We're going to talk about some of those bills that kept me up at night. So we're going to do a legislative update. We're going to talk design guidelines. The Sandy Springs Design Guidelines draft has been published, and we're going to talk about TSPLOST, and we are starting our budget, our fiscal year 27 budget, and wouldn't mind having a short chat about that, plus any other issues that you'd like to discuss. It's more of an open discussion, but I will just take a couple minutes. I'll give you all a couple minutes to transition, and then for those who want to stick around and get into some of these topics with me, I'll see you in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, and
All right.
Dr. Moranci, Dr. Seeley, thank you again, Board President Kristen. Thank you so much for joining. I know this can be a frustrating format as a candidate, but you'll have some follow-ups questions that get sent to you, obviously, and you'll have ample opportunity to respond through the various channels that you all have at your disposal. So thank you again. Apologies we couldn't get to everything, but thank you.
Thank you for the platform you have created, Dr. Kelly and Raymond. Thank you so much.
No problem. Really appreciate the folks who step up to be in public office. It's not easy. I feel like
Thank
I
you, Ms.
lose sleep.
Councilwoman Kelly. I was trying to stay on, but I couldn't mute myself.
Oh, no problem.
We can mute you.
Yeah, you can mute.
Yeah, I'll take care of that for you. No problem. Oh gosh, let me look at our chat. We had Councilwoman Mueller on the call. I should have looked. I didn't look in the audience. I've been nervous. So we had Board President McCabe, and thank you, Raymond, for pointing her out. We still have Melissa Mueller, my colleague in District 3, and to be clear, this District 7, Fulton County Schools District 7 definitely overlaps quite a bit with her district as well. So she's a key stakeholder in these conversations. So yeah, that's great. All right. I want to walk through. So we're going to talk about the bills that passed both sessions. And the ones that affect cities. I mean, a lot of bills passed both chambers this session, but let's talk about the ones that affect cities and what they mean and how they could possibly impact our operations and what you might see on the ground. So with that, I'm going to share a really cool tool in our chat. Okay. Hold on, I want to make sure. Nope, not waiting room participants. Group meeting chat. All right. So this is a bill tracker tool from the Georgia Municipal Association, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to track bills that are going through the chambers in the General Assembly. You could track them in real time. And to be clear, these are bills that really are specific to or that have impacts on cities. So I'm going to go through a few of these bills. And to do that, let me set up my view really quick. View page display, read mode. Perfect. I'm actually going to share a document that I cannot seem to find online, but it's really useful. So I'm gonna share that now. And we'll just go through a few of these bills. I just want you to keep an eye on them. Now, I cannot comment as to whether these bills have been signed into law yet, but they are sitting on the governor's desk. Okay. All right. So a few that I want to point out are, hold on. That's the one. All right. So Dr. Seeley mentioned House Bill 1116. House Bill 1116 did not pass through the Senate, but Senate Bill 33 did. And what Senate Bill 33 does is it does not, here's the deal, it does not eliminate property taxes, but it does expand access to a few sales tax options. All right, and there's two specific sales tax options. One is called FLOST, FLOST, and the other one is called LHOST. And they more or less, they're not just sales tax options, they are sales tax options that are meant only to roll back property tax millage rates. So cities can only use these options if they are going to roll back, if they are going to do a rollback of their property taxes. And also, this Senate bill made mandatory the inflationary cap. But in Sandy Springs, we've always had an inflationary cap. So as far as our millage, it shouldn't affect you that much. So that is what House Bill 1116 turned into. We'll see what happens next session. We'll see. All right. Another bill that I wanted us to look at was, House Bill 295 is interesting. Passed both chambers, and it essentially creates a liability for local governments, get this, for non-enforcement of homelessness, drug abuse, immigration, vagrancy in general. So we're going to see how that'll work out. But it essentially removes our immunity as a city to, in theory, we could be sued for non-enforcement of vagrancy. So do with that what you will. I thought it was an interesting bill that we should definitely be aware of. Councilwoman Mueller, are you still on? Let me look out here.
Yeah, she is
here because I want her to chime in on something.
Yeah, yes, I'm still here, Melody.
Since you're on the call, hey, can you chime in on the bill that is related, that impacts HOAs? I know you shared it in your newsletter or online.
Sure. So it was a homeowners property rights bill to try to put some, I would say, restrictions and regulations on homeowner associations. Now, this would be more for those that are mandatory HOAs. So not those that are voluntary. Things like how you can apply how they can do assessments, how they can do foreclosures. If you have a fine for, let's say, a violation, how the structure when there is a payoff of violations and maybe you're behind on your assessments, what has to get applied first. Kind of think of it like, at a bank. I think years ago they used to apply is it debits or credits first? So reeling that in, so that would, and then there also gave some legal rights. So anyone who's in a mandatory association probably wants to look into that. And if you have legal representation, just make sure that you're following the rules and you're treating your residents the way they should be treated. So I think that's what this bill was for, but it does put some burdens on the some of the associations if they weren't already having some processes. Also, I think there was some record keeping type things. So I don't know. That's probably it. Just look into it if you are impacted.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
You're welcome.
Glad you're on the call. All right, there's one last bill. I need a drum roll. Are my do I have North Springs neighborhood on this call? You're gonna love this. This passed. Oh, hold on. I wanna.
We got a few people.
Yeah. I want you all to see this one. House Bill 651. We're regulating speed cameras.
Yay.
In school zones. So we have new requirements. We have new requirements now. Again, not sure if this has been signed yet. It has been sent to the governor. And you can keep up with this bill by going to the link that I put in the chat. But let's talk this through. So it provides stronger requirements as it relates to signage. That is a huge complaint that I hear all the time relating to specifically the cameras at North Springs High School. So it has some requirements around signage. It also creates a complaint process, formalizes a complaint process. That's another complaint that I get quite a bit. It also, well, there's quite a bit here. I'm not going to read it all, but it violations must be more than 10 miles per hour, but that always has been the case. It puts some restraints on how the revenue could be used, but the most important piece of this is that last paragraph. Local governments, get this, y'all, must get voter approval before using speed cameras. Come on, can I get a hand clap? Yeah! We have to do a referendum. We have to get voter approval before we install speed cameras and start ticketing you automatically. And I mean, like, so to me, that's the biggest piece. So what does that mean specifically for Sandy Springs? That means that when our current contract is up in June, we will not be able to renew that contract until we get your approval as voters. Come on. Okay.
I'm now a single voter issue. Or single issue voter, excuse me.
You're a single issue voter. No, I was like, come on, General Assembly. So every now and then you get a win. That's pretty cool. All right, next. First of all, any questions, comments? I know I asked Councilwoman Mueller to chime in, but this is a part that isn't as formal, so I don't want to just anybody.
Melody, if I may, can I point out something that failed as well that we were working on?
Oh, please do. Yeah, go ahead. Point it out.
So just for the community, particularly those involved or those interested in charter schools in general, or the charter school that we're working to open, we did work on legislation in conjunction with a number of organizations to better define the definition of an unused facility as the code currently contemplates. And so the effort there was essentially to bring properties to market faster, more easily, and with more transparency, really, than perhaps they're currently doing. That those efforts failed, as did a number of other charter school bills, to include, ways that charter schools can get financing through sort of traditionally public means and things like that. So we're working on those things, but just know that those efforts didn't bear fruit.
So does that mean it comes back next, you'll bring it
We'll
back?
we'll bring it back next session probably. We've got to, you know, we've got to get some more people on board. Got to tighten up language, different
Oh,
things
okay.
like
I was
that.
gonna say, is there anything you need to tighten up, or is it?
Yeah, allegedly. We'll find out.
Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on that, and I believe there's how do we keep up? What's the best way for folks to keep up with that work? Would you say? Is there a link you want to pop in the chat or something?
No,
Okay.
there's not. Oftentimes, as you know, it's there's a balance between you know, when things are done, I guess publicly versus when they're being discussed behind closed doors, because different, you know, folks in office want to posture in different ways, and so there's not a great way to do it. But what I will promise is to put out. You all might have seen, like on Facebook, when I published the Georgia Charter School Association video that talked about the bill that I'm speaking about, where they came out and sort of said, we're doing this and we're in support of this, and those kinds of things. I'll continue to put out information as it's sort of publicly ready on those fronts. But that's all I can promise, unfortunately.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Any other updates? Again, I was just focusing on the
Yeah.
city stuff. So thank you for that update, Raymond. All right, great. Let's move to, I'm not going to keep you long, but hey, since I have your attention, all right, here's the next thing I want us to start thinking about. This is our design guidelines website. I'm going to share it. I'm going to share my screen in just a second. I am. Hold on. Give me a sec. Okay, I'm going to share it. All right, so that link takes you to our design guidelines website. Now, you all may or may not have been aware, we probably for the past, I'll say 6 months, have been holding a series of open houses. And you know, open houses are where you look at nice pictures and place stickers on things. But all of that work that you all have done over the last 6 months has culminated to a design guideline document. Let's talk about design guidelines. They are almost what they sound like. So with respect to commercial development, so you think about stores, businesses, you think about apartments. What this does is everything that develops in our, including renovations, in our commercial corridors, what these guidelines will do is not prescribe, it won't necessarily require, but it'll provide options for what different aspects of those developments can look like, if that makes sense. So again, this isn't a like requirement, because we understand that potentially stifles development. But what it is it's a series of friendly suggestions and some strong recommendations that will empower our staff, our planning staff, our permitting staff to have the conversations that they need to have. All right, so I'm not going to go through the whole document, even though it's 80 or so pages, it looks like, maybe a little more. But what I do want to show you is this graphic here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, here we go. Yeah. So I want to show you this. This is Sandy Springs. You all know that. But what I want you to focus on is we have these different sections of the city. And the idea would be that there would be somewhat different design standards for each section of the city. The piece in red is our beloved North End. And what you see colored there in red is what's considered to be sort of the commercial areas of the North End. And what I'd like for us to do is, if it, to those in interest, but I'd like for us to spend some time taking a deep dive into this document with the purpose of providing some recommendations on not just the draft itself, but on whether we think anything should be required. Because in theory, what we could do is if there were, and I'll stop sharing now, if there were aspects to this guidelines, to these plans that maybe we thought could really, really benefit our community from a design guideline perspective, it may be worth actually putting that into code as a requirement, as a text amendment to our development code. And so for those of you who maybe have those backgrounds or just have an interest, it would be great to have that conversation over the next few weeks for those who might have an interest.
Dr. Melody,
Yes.
how much, forgive my sort of newness to this, how much have we looked to other cities that maybe we want to emulate and different things like that in putting this together?
So our consultant team, Roadside Hartwell, so at these public houses, they always leaned on other cities.
Okay.
So it was always about.
I was going to say the extreme of guidelines is probably Peachtree City, which is an area that I'm near or from, near where I'm from, and as a person who used to have to open bank branches and stuff like that in it, I can tell you that there is a balancing act between requirements and encouraging business and developing a cohesive and aesthetic design that you want. But there are lots of elements down in Peachtree City that make a whole lot of sense, like trees and vegetation in general, and signage not being front and center on every single along Roswell Road, for instance, and different things like that. So anyway, I figured you probably took that into account in making this, but that's sort of a good guidepost for me.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I'll just show this page just so you all can see. Just to your point, it's about green, plantings. This is what's referred to as the public realm. So these are things that the city actually has quite a bit of control over. The installation of benches, bike racks, trash receptacles. So just to give an idea of what this document has in it, and also there's pretty significant detail around planting. So speaking of, to your point about trees, I mean, we go pretty in depth with tree options and things. So
yeah,
cool.
Well, I'll definitely take a look at it. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just any thoughts. But right now, none of it's necessarily required at this point, which is, like you said, is not a bad thing. Okay. Next topic. Let's talk TSPLOST. Let me put this in your. First of all, anybody want to chime in here? Sorry, I didn't see. Let me go through.
No, other than the L host is also lost. If you don't pronounce it L host, and that's just funny.
Thank you for that. That's one of those jokes.
Dr. Kelly, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, Melanie Couchman here. I am interested in deeper diving into the design specs.
Thank you.
So I just want to weigh in on that. And I don't know the timing for that, but if you could let us know when you think you might want to do that, I'm happy to help with that.
Okay. Let me actually, as you say that, there's a comment form available. Let me see how long that's going to be available. April. Okay. Because the dates don't look great right here. So I don't know how long we'll be accepting comments on the document that I just showed you, but that would actually guide our timeline a bit. But we could also even after, I imagine our work continuing even after the council adopts these guidelines, because we want to prescribe policy coming from these guidelines. So, but yeah, I will definitely Shameless plug, are you all signed up for the newsletter? I will definitely put some information in the newsletter, and I'll reach out to you directly. So I have a few people in mind, so
Good.
yeah.
I need to sign off, but thanks for this. I think this was really helpful. And thank you both to the candidates. That was also very helpful.
Yeah, the candidates are awesome.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yeah, they did. All right, let's talk TSPLOST.
Hey, Melody, just I wanted to just give you a quick comments on the design guidelines are available through May 15th.
Okay. Where do you see that? Is that in the?
I think I got that from one of the announcements that was sent out maybe by Carter.
Ooh, okay. One of the press releases. All right. For some reason,
Yeah.
If it's on the website, it's buried on the website.
Well, sometimes the website doesn't always have the information. maybe it's at the bottom and not at the top. But I just wanted to make sure that that was out there for through May 15th.
Through May 15th, we're accepting comments on that document itself. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's look at TSPLOST. Hey, these are the projects. Hold on. Do I want to do projects or project details? Let me go to the website. And I just put the link to this site also in the chat so you can look at it. So TSPLOST is a transportation special local option sales tax. So it's a penny sales tax. I should probably say that, right? It's a penny sales tax that we share across the cities and the county. Well, all the cities in the county, we share 1 penny. But that 1 penny provides quite a bit of revenue across 4 years. So let's look at the proposed. This will be our 3rd iteration doing that. So just to help frame things, what are some projects that have been funded by this fraction of a penny? Well, Mount Vernon, the Mount Vernon corridor improvements, many of the sidewalks that we have completed over the past couple of years, Grogan's Ferry intersection, the traffic light there, the North End Boulevard work will be funded by this fraction of a penny. So those are some examples. Hammond Drive, the work that we're beginning construction on, will be also covered by this fraction of a penny. So these are our proposed project lists. Let's talk about it. All right, some of these are specific to the North End, some not so much. Here are a few that stick out to me. I'm gonna zoom this in a little bit so you can really see it. Let's look at tier 1. Tier 1 just means these are the ones that will be have funding priority, and they are not listed in order of priority, by the way. That's not the way these are. I don't think they are listed that way. Okay, here are some things that are interesting to me. All right, $6.1 million to improve the Morgan Falls Roswell Road intersection. I don't know if anyone traverses that intersection. It's not perfect, but that's one of the projects. We have another section of Hammond Drive to improve. And then I want to go down to the capital sidewalk program. We normally approve about $12 million for the capital sidewalk program. This iteration, we're looking at 16 million proposed. So the idea being that costs have gone up, but also we hope to be able to cover more sidewalks. May I tell you the sidewalk project that I am most excited about that has made it, I think is going to make it into this $16 million? Adair Lane. All right, so if anyone has a moment, you're driving in the North End, just drive along Adair Lane. It's a street that is it runs parallel to Roswell Road from Morgan Falls to Grogan's Ferry, and it is in desperate need of sidewalks. depending on the time of day, you see people pushing baby strollers in the street. You see kids walking to the stores. You see kids walking to the Morgan Falls Athletics um, complex. I mean, it's in dire need of sidewalks. So very excited to get that there. Okay, we
Melody,
also,
that's the road in between the buildings off of Morgan Falls. Is it like where that staffing building and then there's another one there? Okay.
yeah, it's the street
Okay.
right there. Yep.
Yeah.
It's the street right there.
Cool.
And I also like to think of it as, directly behind the QT. That's
Yeah.
so I like to think of
Good
it
point.
that way. Also, let me tell you something else I'm excited about on this list. And then I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to complain. You're going to have to listen to me moan and groan. Okay. Mid-block crossing. Okay. I'm going to say this. Hold on. How much money is that? 4 million. I am fully going to fight for 2 mid-block crossings, maybe more, but there are 2 mid-block crossings that we need in the north. One of them is pretty far north of Northridge, near Dunwoody Place. No, near Hightower. There's a think about it as directly in front of the Dunwoody Place shopping center. There needs to be a mid-block crossing there. We have the data, we have the plans already, so I will be definitely advocating for that to be included in this mid-block crossing program. The second one is near Trowbridge, Roswell Road. So think about where the Edgewater apartment community, the Trowbridge Crossing Shopping Center, where the Walgreens is, out over there. We've had several pedestrian accidents occur at that intersection, as well as other types of accidents. So though that is tier 1, let me look at tier 2. We got an intersection program, more sidewalks.
Is any of this? I don't know how much of the redevelopment of I don't know the name of the shopping center, but the Stars and Strikes area. How far has that progressed? Where's it? Is it going to be something different?
Ooh, thank you for asking.
Yeah.
Okay, so here is the update on North River Village Shopping Center. We have entered into, okay, this isn't like, we are still in conversation with the development team. The permitting processes has started. Julie, I do see your hand. And where we are, the update that I received actually today is we are at the point in the process where we are meeting weekly with the team to address the challenges. And just a quick update, the city is working on a public-private partnership for that site to support, and you'll appreciate this, Doctors Moranci and Sealy, to support attainable, home ownership. So ensuring that the single family, the townhomes that are built are actually for sale product and not purchased by one entity and then rented, but actually go to owners and hopefully families. That's the idea.
Yeah, that'll help Ison too.
Yeah, that'll help Ison as well. So that's what we're working on. Don't have anything finalized yet, but I know that our economic development team meets every week with the developers, and I get fairly regular. So there's still some transactions to be had.
Sure.
For that. Julie, your hand, and then I think Dr. Moranci, you took yourself off mute, so.
Hey, I have a two-part, maybe kind of a two-part question. Same question. My son a few months ago wrote to y'all about the way the bridge across 400 has been raised up at Roberts Drive, right at the end of Pride Place, because the elevation of that bridge now makes it almost impossible to see a car coming when you go to turn off of Pride Place. And like even this morning, I almost got hit. Or actually, it wasn't this morning. He's home sick. It was 2 days ago. And then he also was hoping that there could be a crosswalk put in to get from, we're on the east side of Brandon Mill at North. We live on North Mill, which is the road with the flashing light. And at that part of the road, it's effectively 4 lanes wide because you've got a right turn lane and a left turn lane, and then one through lane on each direction. And it's hard for the kids to get to the sidewalk, like not safe really for them to get to the sidewalk. And so he's hoping for a crosswalk there. And then also for one of those flashing lights that tells you a car is coming from the left at the end of Pride Place, so that school buses and cars and all of those things that come from Sandy Springs Middle School and need to turn onto Roberts can do that and at least know that a car might be coming. They've got one of those flashing things at the end of the drive at North Springs High School and one at, what is it called? Dunwoody Road. We used to call it one of the Chamblee Dunwoodies over near Woodland.
Yeah. Councilwoman, I want to let Councilwoman Mueller possibly chime in on that crosswalk because I feel like.
Yeah, because I know that one's in Mueller's district, which is our district, and then the end of Pride Place is kind of on the border of you and Mr. Paulson.
Right. So I've taken responsibility for that. So I'll talk about
Keep
that.
asking me about it.
Yeah, and I wanted to let Councilwoman Mueller chime in about that crosswalk or what. Have you been briefed on that, Councilwoman? If you're
sorry, I'm on the browser here. So I did submit tickets. I did answer.
Yeah, you did. He was so excited.
Yeah, so I did take time to answer the ones that were in my district. So tickets were submitted for the 2 crosswalk areas. And then I pointed him to Mr. Paulson for the bridge. I know that Mr. Paulson, I don't know if he's answered, but I know he's read the email because I heard him mention to staff or one of the meetings about, he was asking the Director of Public Works about the bridge and the elevation of the bridge. So I do know he's seen it. I don't know if he responded though. I wasn't on copy.
He did not respond, but Isaac's 12, so you know.
Well, no, I just want to let you know I know that he did.
Good, citizen.
Did see it.
Can't vote, that you can still talk to your officials, kind of thing. So
yeah. So there have been, and Melody, I probably didn't include you on that response. I'll forward it to you so you have it since it came up on your forum here. But we do get questions about a light now at North Mill Road. I've had several for a crossing. Well, not a light, like a cross light, not a light, but a cross light. Because there's already a blinking light there, but a light like Melody was talking about the the hawk crossing, the signal where you push and you can cross. And then also down near Lost Corner, you have a sidewalk all along one side. Then you have a little slip of a sidewalk on the Lost Corner side. But if you want to really cross there, you have to go all the way down to Brandon Mill and you would have to cross. And then there is no sidewalk from there to the corner.
And nobody does that. They just cross.
Yeah. Yes. So
2 little lanes and with a clear view. But yeah, you're exactly.
Yeah. So I don't know on the ticket. I haven't checked the status of that. But I don't know if anybody's responded to that. It shouldn't have been closed without a response.
Okay, I couldn't find it. So I'm probably doing something wrong.
Well, no, there's no, unfortunately, so we are looking to do a new, I would say, ticketing system. The ticketing system that we have is old, so there is no self-service. So once a ticket's open, the only way to get the status is, it's very old school. You have to call the call center.
I gotcha. No wonder I couldn't find it.
Yeah, so you're not losing your marbles there. It's you can't find the because it's not available. So that is something that hopefully we'll be able to put in place.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you so much.
So I as you were speaking, I just pulled up an email from April 20th, 2025. So what's that, over a year ago? So this was a Sunday at 12 p.m. So I actually don't mind sharing this.
I don't think that's his. He would have he wrote this year.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just showing you that even before you wrote, he wrote that we were that I had posed the question, right? An approaching vehicles flashing sign at Roberts Drive, Pride Place, because the sight distance has gotten worse. And I even included pictures. So this is from just to give you a sense that we are aware.
Because you see how high that bridge is.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
The bridge didn't used to be so tall. I used to live in the condos right across that bridge, and that bridge didn't used to be so tall, and you had plenty of time to see people coming, and now you just don't.
Yeah.
And now in the morning, especially with the sun angle.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So yeah, we are, I can't recall, it was brought up at a meeting publicly and there was a response. I cannot recall exactly what that was. So I'm gonna follow up um and I'll get back to you. I have your information because you filled out, you posed a question to our candidates. So I have your email.
Thank you.
And
Well,
I
and
could tell you currently where that stands, but
Jen knows how to get a hold of me too.
yeah.
Yeah, and I forwarded you the email, Melody,
Thank
from
you.
the ticket. Yep.
Well, and I have to say, Isaac really loved that even as a 12-year-old, or I think he was 11 at the time, that he got a response from a grown-up in a position of power. So thank you for answering him. That meant a lot to him.
Yeah.
Well, everyone deserves a response, I think.
And, oh, okay. See you later. See you later, Dr. Moranci. I see you signed off. Okay. Yeah, and Councilwoman Mueller is known for her comprehensive approach to response to responding. So I'm sure it was robust. Yeah. Okay. What else where was I? Okay, so we talked about TSPLOST. We talked about North River. Are there any other questions for those of you who are on? Just open anything you want to or complain about even?
Not complain, but just wanted to uh, pitch in here.
Okay.
So the TSPLOST, I believe TSPLOST also funds some of the school repairs, upgrades, even school constructions of that sort, right? I did not see any of that in this particular TSPLOST budget allocation.
There's
Do you
that's a sorry to interrupt. That's a separate tax. It's actually called
eSPLOST.
because
Oh,
it's Fulton County Schools is going to go through. They should be actually going through a parallel process exactly like this, but to your point, for schools only. So
They were talking
okay.
about it at one of their recent work sessions. The
okay.
last month's work session, I was listening in on, and they were
Yeah, I
talking
think
about the eSPLOST that's coming up for, what is it, Plan 2027, I think, Raymond?
yeah, if you go to the board website, I think they actually have some written materials on what they're doing there.
They have a
Wonderful.
project list.
But I think the E
Yeah.
stands for education and the
East,
T
yeah,
stands for
correct.
transportation. I could
Correct.
be
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah, correct. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. They what they do with their penny, I don't know. So y'all might so it might be worth going through their project list with a fine-tooth comb to see where our schools are. What kind of
So
renovation.
sometimes they spend $3 million on a school that they close 2 years later, but it's neither here nor there.
You think?
Oh, that happens, yeah. So that's actually a good idea for us to talk about maybe in one of these upcoming meetings is the East West to go over some of those projects. So yeah. Anything else, team? Let's see.
Jen Lott here.
What's up,
Melody.
Jen Lott?
Hello. I just wanted to point out that our eSPLOST dollars, as we all know, are what they're paying to build North Springs right now. And we're getting a brand new building that will be opening in August of 2027.
Oh, everything's still on track, huh? Because you're on that committee, right? To keep track of that stuff.
Yes. I am on that committee. And yes, it is opening on track. I've toured the building now a few times. We're able to go inside and it's been really good for the people that are working really hard on it. So yes. Anyway,
Now
yes.
we got to make sure that the students get aligned to go to it.
Right.
We don't lose any more feeders.
Jen, can I ask you a question about is there anything you can share related to planned programming, any programmatic changes with the new building?
Yeah, and actually, I think that Dr. Seeley, you might not have had all this information because you didn't really talk about this correctly, I think, earlier, but North Springs has actually already launched what's called the Accelerated Career Diploma. So in addition to the 26 AP classes we offer and the full, we were a comprehensive high school. We also, it started a little bit this past year. It's launching in full force next year. It's called the Accelerated Career Diploma, and it will allow students to either go ahead and take a small amount of classes their freshman and sophomore year and then launch into Gwinnett Tech. It's a partnership with Gwinnett Tech, or they can, if they're already are freshmen or sophomores, they can start to take classes at Gwinnett Tech as juniors, and they can either get a certification in welding or whatever by the time they finish high school, or they can decide they want to do like a cyber technology kind of thing and go on to a 4-year university afterwards. So it is a way for kids to be able to go whatever direction they want, and there's choices within it. So if you start out doing it and then realize you'd rather be a more of an AP type student, then you can go that route. If you start late, you can also start into the program late. But it's something that we're very excited about, and it's been I've been writing the curriculum for it I'm on the SGC as well for several years now, and we're really happy to be officially launching it. And that is, we have 221, I believe, students signed up already for next year just for that part alone.
At North
So
Yeah,
Springs?
thank you, Jen, for and pitching up on the Accelerated Career Diploma Program. Yes, yeah, I'm aware of that. The ACD Fast Track, the 4-year program, and the college prep that's in partnership with this Gwinnett Technical College. Yeah, that's an excellent, great opportunity for many children to benefit. Great
right.
job.
Jen,
Yep.
Yes.
Jen, quick question for you, not to derail the meeting on this particular point, I guess, but are you familiar with CEC down in Noonan?
Yes, and our Dr. Moranci may have been, I cannot remember who, I know that our assistant principal and our principal went to tour it maybe a year ago, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my camera on, by the way. I'm
What is
sorry, I can't figure it
CEC?
out.
What is CEC,
So
Randy?
it's I think it stands for Central Education Center, but the essentially I believe it's a charter school, technically. I think it's the only one Coweta has approved like it, but it's a technical program. It's a technical high school essentially, and it's in the public school system. And so if you're in any of the high schools down in Coweta County, which is where I'm from, you have an opportunity to spend most of your day basically over at this place, either getting a nursing degree or working on welding or carpentry, or they have they're sort of a model nationwide for those types of programs. I'm not aware, and this partnership with Gwinnett Tech is really cool. I'm learning about it, so thank you for bringing it up. But I'm not aware of Fulton having a sort of similar like high school within its within its own sort of system. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's it's sort of new. The south end of the county opened a year and a half ago Promise Career Institute, and the Yolanda Bell, who is the person who's the Fulton County Schools representative that we worked with through our own SGC at North Springs the most, ended up leaving her position or being moved from her position into becoming the principal of PCI, Promise Career Institute. And that was sort of the first one. And that one is more solidly a opportunities for certification type school, because we believe so strongly in North Springs retaining its comprehensive high school status. We have a zillion sports. We have all the things. We have, again, 26 AP classes. Like, we have all the stuff, and we're also offering this. So we are going to be able to, that's why if you've seen, and I think that, again, I'm not sure that Dr. Seeley understood this quite earlier. You were talking about like marketing the area. Like, we've done a substantial amount of school governance council charter dollars this year spent on marketing for the North Springs area, because our whole tagline is find yourself here. And the idea is that no matter what kind of person you want to be, North Springs has it. We have arts, we have theater, we have math and science, we have, again, coming up, accelerated career diploma.
Cool.
So sorry, it took me this whole
job
entire
again.
meeting to figure out how to get my camera to work. So I'm now finally joining.
Jen, great job on the North Springs, but I believe that also need to be implemented in the other schools.
Well, see, again, you got to remember that every school has its own different needs. And so the whole point of a school governance council is to be able to use charter dollars as fit your school the best. And so I was a part of all this 17 years ago when my children were just starting out. So I've been I've seen it the whole way through. Originally, there was a kind of a one-size-fits-all system within Fulton County, and they just kind of did all the marketing for everybody. But then the whole point of the charter system was to allow each SGC within the school to be able to advocate to spend their dollars the way that fit their school best. So you're going to have what's needed in Johns Creek or Roswell High School or Centennial High
different
School
from
or
what we
Riverwood High
need.
School
Yeah,
is different than North
agreed.
Springs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
different than
Cookie
Sandy
cutter.
Springs Middle and different than Ison and so on.
Exactly. Yeah, one method does not apply everywhere. Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Jen, I sure wish Georgia State University could get in on some of that.
Join up. Come on.
Some of that action, some of
Yeah,
that
so
love.
it's a partnership with Gwinnett Tech, and it's actually going to be, now you've got me all talking about it. Sorry, I don't mean to take over the whole meeting, but it's starting with, like I said, cybersecurity and welding, and I can't think of the other choices right now because my brain is dead. But they eventually are going to be adding cosmetology and some of the other opportunities that they've already got. Like, this is already done. This is not like a pie in the sky idea. This is already like happening. Gwinnett Tech, the one in Alpharetta doesn't, if I remember correctly, doesn't currently offer cosmetology. And so they either would have to go to the other location or they're going to be opening cosmetology at that location specifically for North Springs. So this is something that is way bigger than me. It is it's our administration. We have a assistant principal who is focusing specifically on accelerated career diploma. And they are working with Gwinnett Tech on a daily basis on all this.
Well,
Awesome.
Okay. I'll keep an eye out. It sounds awesome. If I'm sad, it's just because I wish Georgia State could do something like that. To be
just don't buy any buildings in the area, please.
Exactly. We're gonna put it all at Spalding. No, I believe. Well, I'm on the same street as Spalding, so I can't drive by. Every single time I drive by, I cry a little. Don't even get me started on that topic.
One of my kids asked me if I could stop saying something every time we drive by.
Noel Maloof and I are
very
buddies
regularly.
I know Noel Maloof and I are buddies, and we are on the building committee together for North Springs. And I made it through the whole meeting last month without talking about Spalding, and he gave me a little sticker at the end he was like, "You did good. You made it through the whole meeting." And I was like, "Yeah, except for now we're getting in our cars and I'm still talking about it."
It's nothing like losing a school. Nothing like it for a community.
I can't even talk about it. Back to Georgia State for one more second, though. Another initiative that Fulton County Schools is putting into place starting next year is senior reduction is going away. It is a countywide issue. It is not District 7, it is not it is the whole county. All Fulton County schools will not have senior reduction next year as a way to put more butts and seats in classrooms and make kids take classes that they might have wanted to not take the time to take otherwise. Because of that, dual enrollment and work-based learning is increasing quite a bit. So there'll be there's already a ton of kids who do dual enrollment at Georgia State. The number I believe the short version is a gazillion is going to be signed up for Georgia State next year.
Is that across the county or just North Springs?
It's across the county. So the whole county is doing away with senior reduction. I had a bunch of junior parents earlier this year when the conversation was starting who wanted me to advocate a lot for it. And I honestly was like, yay, take it away. I hate it. I don't know what time I have a senior and I don't know what time she's supposed to be at school every day. It makes me crazy. So I'm thrilled it's going away. And I want to since I'm on now that I've taken over the whole call, I just want to mention that like Melody and I go way back. And I think that I'm so impressed and want to celebrate you, Melody, for all the work that you did as a volunteer, because starting out as a parent volunteer in our schools is such a good way to get involved in all of these things. And the fact that you and I kind of came up together from all those years ago on the board of the PTO at Sandy Springs Middle. And so I know that Dr. Seeley, I'm not sure how involved you are in the schools just yet, but I would encourage you to get involved in Sandy Springs Middle now that you're there. That'd be a good way to get really plugged into how TSPLOST and the board meetings and all the stuff works.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bake sales, book fairs, and penny wars.
We did it all with penny wars. They still do penny wars. They still do it. I was so happy they still do it. Yes.
Like my favorite thing. Yeah.
Melody and I ran the food pantry together during COVID. So we were
you ran
heavily.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll stop talking now. Sorry, I didn't mean to take it over.
Well, thanks for taking your camera off. This reminds me of like when I'm teaching. You only get a handful of people.
I would have had it off the whole time. I swear. I don't know whether I couldn't find the little button. I'm so dumb.
Okay.
Anyway.
Melody, you'll be happy to know that on our projects, we require a camera on for everybody on the call.
Okay, Julie. Come on, Julie.
I made my kids keep their camera on during COVID, during the online teaching. I made them keep their cameras on. They hated me. They were so mad about it.
Yeah, keeps your attention.
Yeah, it keeps their attention.
I told my kids during COVID that, well, my little ones kept it on, but my oldest was in 8th grade at the time, and nobody would put the camera on it. She's like, if I put the camera on, then, you know, it's like a social thing. But I said, if I were the teacher, I'd have been given like 20 points a day freebie participation. At the end of the week, you've got 100 quiz average for every day you keep your camera on.
Yeah.
Like it's like I went into teacher mode. It's like,
that is much more of a carrot approach than I take.
right.
I agree with y'all.
Y'all, I've got to drop, but
okay, cool.
Melody, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Cool. Yeah, I never get to really talk to people like this, so I don't know how to stop. Any other questions, topics? Anybody want to chime in before we shut this down? Councilwoman Mueller, any final? Okay.
I just want to say thank you for having these meetings and for this forum.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being here. This was the most well-attended. Hey, I expect to see you all next month. You're in now. You're in.
Thank you, Melody. Thank you, Melissa Mueller. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you,
Jen
Dr.
and
Seeley.
Thanks, y'all.
But
See y'all
thank you.
later.